Thank you so much for creating time and joining in today for Lighting Talk episode 3, where we will be talking about bioprospecting as an instrument in conservation. I am your presenter and host, Ndusha Mwanjala. You're welcome. The success of a community or a nation is largely dependent upon the capability of her people to convert the biodiversity and other natural resources into wealth in a very ecologically sound and economically rewarding and, of course, sustainable manner. With the climate emergency at the moment and the nature crisis, we are presented with a paradigm shift towards more nature positive investments for, of course, enhancing human security and climate resilience across all sectors as energy, as agriculture, as tourism, etc. This then means conservation has to be at the core and at the center of all decisions made by all development stakeholders, all development partners, and of course, our communities. The question then begs, and the question still remains, how do we make conservation attractive to indigenous communities, especially in this poly-crisis decade with high cost of living being top of the global risks report by World Economic Forum? Well, bioprospecting as the new green gold has a potential of affecting social and economic development by rewarding biodiversity-rich communities, biodiversity-rich countries, and communities that preserve and wisely manage their biodiversity and genetic resources. What then is bioprospecting? It is basically green mining. It is the exploration of biological material for commercially valuable genetic and biochemical properties. This is basically the investigation of living things to see how they can be commercially useful to human beings. Ideally, extreme and high biodiverse environments provide habitats for organisms with unique characteristics that are usually developed for survival. The secretions from these organisms have been used in the past to process detergents, to process food, to process cleaning and dyeing materials, and also in medical diagnostics to forensics, etc., etc. Bioprospecting helps to find new resources and products from nature that can be used by humans, where these discoveries also can provide leads for drug development, among other things, that can solve human problems. However, key issues like lack of legal clarity, overexploitation of these resources, and issues such as biopiracy, which of course we will be discussing in our coming episodes, present great challenges that need to be solved. Bioprospective, bioprospecting in itself will present itself as a conservation strategy only when bioprospecting farms, bioprospecting industries are willing to pay to preserve biodiversity, since they are the ones that stand to reap direct financial benefits from any marketable discoveries that they get to have. Also, when local inhabitants and landowners, stewards of biodiversity, are compensated for their contribution in conservation. It is worth noting that local inhabitants and landowners as stewards of biodiversity are compensated for their contribution. And the reason why this is the case is because the cost of conservation at times is higher than the benefits of conservation to landowners, especially the ones living near the protected areas. See an example of asset losses by stray wildlife and the asset poverty is obviously the main factor behind biodiversity loss in these protected areas by the landowners themselves. Going forward, then it is very important that strategies as by prospecting become institutionalized and polished well to make conservation more attractive And issues as benefit sharing, issues as capacity building to proper financing need to be put into perspective for this strategy to be functional. It's time for the policymakers, it's time for the stakeholders, it's time for our community members to devise a strategy to address these underlying issues for such a model as this to be operational and to work well. Thank you so much for participating in this lighting talk in partnership with Zimo Group through Zimo Group Empowers. Drop your thoughts, drop your suggestions, drop your quotes in the comment section. And obviously, this is how you can connect with me. Stay tuned for our next episode of Lighting Talks and empower yourself to become a change maker. Kwaheri, and see you soon. Thank you so much. Bye.